Terry Blackburn here. I have a property portfolio worth over £10 million. I've built and sold multiple companies, some in seven-figure deals. I wrote two successful books, one won awards all over the world. All of these awards behind me are national and international awards for some of my companies. Coach people one-on-one, and I run masterminds. Now, if you like what I talk about in this session, if you listen to my podcast, you follow us on Instagram, you follow the YouTube page, if you like what I talk about and I resonate with you and you can relate to me, jump on my website, which is terryblackburnproperty.com. All of the different services that I have is on there. I'd love to work with you and I'd love to help you get to where you want to be, whether that's in property, whether that's in business, whether it's in sales, goal setting, whatever it is that you want to achieve and want to learn. I'm your man. Enjoy the rest of the episode and speak soon.
Hi, and welcome to the Rags to Riches show with myself, Terry Blackburn. So today's episode is 8 places, 8 sources, 8 methods that you can use to find and places to find boiling hot, fantastic property deals. I use pretty much all of these strategies, certainly 6 of them. 2 of them I don't use too much. 3 of them I actually don't use too much anymore. So 5 I certainly use all the time. 3 of them I've used in the past, but they all work. So there's 8 places where you can do the same. You just ultimately need to know what they are and how to work that system, how to use that system to generate property deals, right? Property deals are everywhere. If anybody tells you that there aren't any deals that stack anymore, or they are struggling to find deals, I'm sorry to say, the harsh truth is they either don't know what they're doing, they don't know how to find them, they don't know what to look, or they're lazy. Like, ultimately, there are plenty of property deals out there. You just need to know where to find them, how to find them, what to say, what not to say, and all of that type stuff. Like, it's not that challenging. But the problem is, if you tell yourself you can't find them, and you tell yourself you're struggling, guess what happens? You start to believe your own bullshit, right? So, let's get in. So, method 1, or place 1, location 1, lead source 1, estate agents, right? Now, these people are kind of pushing the direct to vendor strategy, saying you can't find good deals on market, right? It is bollocks. I bought well over 100 properties in my time. Like, I've deal sourced on about 60, 70. Like, I bought a lot of properties in my time. I don't know the exact percentage, but a huge percentage, you're certainly the majority, I'd probably say 75 to probably 85% of those have been on market. Yeah? So what does that tell you? Like, and I know most people I know who are doing loads of deals, I find them on market. They're not doing loads of mad letter campaigns and direct to vendor strategies and loads of quirky bollocks. They just find them on market, and they know how to negotiate the on market stuff. So you cannot discount estate agents. They are a fantastic lead source, and you've got to build relationships with estate agents, of course. You've got to build good relationships with them. You've got to be liked, known, and trusted by them, of course, to get them to send you the good deals. But you can look on Rightmove yourself. You can easily do that, and Zoopla and On the Market, and use bits of tech to find deals, of course. But you can't discount estate agents. You've got to build relationships with them, get used to working with them, make them like you, make them know you, make them trust you. Build a relationship, and they'll start to send you deals, as well as you hunting for deals as well, of course, on the market. So that's lead source, or place number 1 where you can find solid property deals. Place number 2 is letting agents. Now, there are some estate agents that don't do lettings, and there are some letting agents that don't do sales. So there's some that are just lettings, and some obviously that do both, right? But there's no harm in ringing a specific letting agent, so they don't do sales, but you can ring them up and say, well, you're looking for tenanted stock. Because what a lot of vendors believe is, and it is true to a degree, that it's better to sell your property when it's empty, when it's vacant, because generally you'll get a higher price than if it's tenanted, because you've got more people looking at it. You've got first-time buyers, home movers, and all that. So generally, when something's tenanted, the landlord will be thinking, right, well, when the tenant moves out, I'm going to sell it. But I've done a previous podcast on lease options. You could swoop in and do a lease option on some stock that's tenanted, or you could buy it tenanted and kick the tenant out yourself. Yeah, so dealing with letting agents specifically is a good place to find leads, because a lot of these landlords might be very, very motivated to sell, but they're just waiting for the tenant to move out. So why don't you contact some letting agents with a process, be likable, good phone call, script and all that, and offer a proposal that you're looking to buy tenanted stock. You'll even pay the letting agents a fee if they find you a deal that maybe is one of their managed stock, if you can buy them. Yeah, I'm not going to give it all away because I've got a script that I teach in my mastermind to do this, but like that is a genuine lead source. So you've got estate agents and letting agents. Number 3 is, which I don't do too much of, I must admit, direct-to-vendor campaigns. So these are letter campaigns where you're going to send out letters to a targeted area. We had quirky letters that we used to send that were handwritten in coloured envelopes and stuff like that, so people thought it was a birthday card. We did loads of quirky stuff like that. They do work. We got probably one deal in every 1,000 letters. But, you know, a letter these days is costing you a couple of quid, generally, for the envelope, the letter, and someone to post it and someone to write it and all that. They do work. Just for me personally, they didn't work too well. So direct-to-vendor campaigns do work. I would be really targeted, and I would have good letters that are worded well. I've got some templates again that I give away in my mastermind. I'm not going to sort of go through that today, but short and sweet, to the point, they definitely work. That's point 3. Point 4 is sources. Now, sources do have a bit of a bad name. They do get a bit of a bad rep online because there is a lot of sources that are full of shit. There is a lot of sources that don't know what they're doing. There is a lot of sources that are just trying to do it for a quick buck, and they mislead and they exaggerate numbers. Obviously, you don't want to work with them, but there is some good sources out there, right? So if you are struggling with maybe time, you just don't have time to find the deals, you could contact some sources in your investment area and explain to them what you're looking for. Be specific on your criteria. This is what I'm looking for. Have you got any deals that meet that criteria? That's a legitimate lead source. That's a legitimate way to find deals. Estate agents, letting agents, direct-to-vendor campaigns, and sources. Point 5 is social media. Now, this has been one of the biggest, I'm going to go as far, actually, as saying one of the best business decisions I've ever made was ramping up my social media. 4 years in, I've only been doing it since 2020, first lockdown, whenever that was, April 2020, so 4.5 years. Honestly, the amount of money that I've made, the amount of opportunities that I've had, angel investors, joint venture partners, deals, people that I mentor, mastermind customers, like I can't even quantify how much, but it's into the millions. I've raised well over 2 million quid just from social media, and that's people who put money into joint ventures, people who put money into as an angel investment on a fixed rate of return. That's over 2 million just from socials, not to mention how much I make from mentoring and courses and everything else that I do. And most of that is driven from social media. I think I mentioned it on a previous podcast about a month ago. It was October, maybe it was even September this year. Someone contacted me with a flip opportunity. There's 150 grand profit in this flip. And this guy said, I've followed you for a while. I was going to buy the deal, but I'm not anymore. Do you want to have a look at it? I went to see it. It's a fantastic property. I've agreed to buy it. It's going through legals at the moment, actually. Hopefully getting the keys in the next couple of weeks. But there's 150 grand in that deal. Net profit. This was someone who I just knew online, and opportunities like that don't come along that often. And when they do, you've got to jump on them, right? But this is purely from my social media, because this person follows me, knows me on there. Never met him in person, by the way, just from social media. And I'm getting brought opportunities like that on a regular basis now. So if you're still procrastinating on social media and you're still procrastinating and putting it off, then you need to jump all over social media. I teach how to do social media on my mastermind. Like, we all know how to do it and how important it is. Something like 4 billion people go on social media every day, something crazy like that. And they spend, I think the stat is 2.5 hours on average per day on that thing. So if that's not enough motivation to get on social media, I don't know what I could possibly say to motivate you to do it. But it's a legitimate lead source. It's a legitimate way to find properties as long as you're putting yourself out there. If you haven't posted for 2 months, don't expect to get messages about properties. So that's point 5, social media. Point 6 is networking. So when you go out networking, you go into events, you need to know what to say to people, how to introduce yourself. You need to be telling them what you do to gain opportunities, because if they don't know you, how are they going to send you deals? If they don't know what you're looking for, how on earth are they going to send you anything? You need to be putting yourself out there and telling people what you do, so they send you leads in return. They send you opportunities in return. If they don't know what you're looking for, it's impossible for them to send you a deal that meets your criteria. And if you don't get yourself out there, like I say on a lot of my podcasts, if you're not on the pitch, you can't score the goal. Yeah, you can't score the goal from the sidelines. And if you're not putting yourself out there, you're on the sidelines. You're on the bench. Or you're in the fucking changing rooms, or you're in the treatment rooms, or you're sitting at home. You're definitely not on the pitch. It's impossible to score if you're not on the pitch. And the only way to get on the pitch is get yourself out there. Yeah, social media, go and see agents, send letters, speak to sources, go to networking events. It's the only way. Yeah, the only way. So networking's, really important. We all know that, but that's a legitimate way to find deals. So that's 6 points already. So next time someone says I can't find deals, just tell them to watch this podcast, right? Then tell them they're full of shit as well, from Terry Blackburn. So next one is referrals. So this isn't talked about too much, actually. Point 7 is, if you've got an angel investor, for example, you should be asking that angel investor, do you know anybody else who wants to invest? Likewise, if you find someone who does a lease option with you, you should be saying, do you know any other landlords that have got tenanted stock that want to do a similar agreement? If you direct a vendor, do you know anybody else who's selling the property? If you speak to a landlord and you buy their portfolio, or you buy a property from a vendor, do you know anybody else who's selling the property? If you are speaking to an estate agent, do you know any other estate agents that have got investments similar to this one? Just asking people who you've done any form of business with if they know anybody like them, anybody else like them. It's as simple as that. It's free to ask for referrals, and a lot of the time referrals are quality leads. Typically, angel investors will know other angel investors. Typically, landlords will know other landlords. So all you've got to do is ask, and you've got to know how to ask and what to say and how to say it. Again, something else that I teach in my programs. But referrals are a legitimate way to get property deals. So that's point 7. And lastly, point 8 is reputation. Now, this is the best place to be, but this takes time, right? This is a combination of all the other 7 points put together. What you do is you build a reputation for yourself, a good one. So once everybody in your area knows what you do, estate agents know what you buy, letting agents know what you buy, the sources do, everyone knows on social media, you're going to networking events, you're putting yourself out there, you're on the pitch. Over a long enough time frame, what starts to happen is people know what you do. Terry's that guy that's doing HMOs in Newcastle. Terry's that guy who's doing flips in North Wales. Terry's that guy who's got them 4 hotels and he's got the glamping site and he does all the stuff that I do. People know me for what I do. Yeah? But once you're known for what you do, people will start to gravitate towards you. And the more well-known you get, as long as it's in a good way, the more well-known you get, the more opportunities you attract. Social media is a perfect example of this, but your reputation in all ways, so in person, at events, in a certain location, or, if you niche down, I was coaching somebody last night on commercial property, and I was talking to him about when he introduces himself at a networking event, he needs to be saying, this is my name, this is what I do, I specialise in commercial investments or commercial properties. I'm really active and looking to buy more commercial properties. On your social media, it needs to be saying, I look for commercial properties, I'm a specialist in this field. Every time you meet an estate agent, this is what I do in commercial properties. And whatever your niche is, you make it that. That guy was just because he does loads of commercial. But you get my point. You can only build a reputation by putting in the reps. You can't have a reputation overnight. You can't be well known tomorrow without putting the work in. It does take time. And if you're looking at this on YouTube, imagine a graph, right? And you've got work along this side, so you've got work along the bottom, and you've got results along the top, right? It's a graph. It's not a straight line, a diagonal line like that, right? It's not like that, because it doesn't instantly, when you start to work, you don't instantly see results. It doesn't go like that. Imagine a graph with a diagonal line. What it is it's more like a hockey stick. So you've got work along the bottom, and you've got results along the top, along the side. So it goes along like this, along work, and then it spikes. But what people do is they work, and they don't see any results. It's a hockey stick. Don't see any results and they quit. Yeah? Work. But if you keep working, eventually you'll get that spike. You'll get the hockey stick that spikes it up. And what people aren't just prepared to do is they're not prepared to keep working until it spikes. And reputation is exactly the same. You can be putting all the work in, doing loads of viewings, doing networking events, speaking to sources, doing social media, asking for referrals, doing letter campaigns, doing all of the hard work. And you might do that for 6 months and you don't see any results and you quit. You might do it for 12 months, no results, and you quit. If you do it for 12 months and you've got no results, month 13 might be the month that it all kicks off. Yeah? I don't know when it's going to kick off for you. I don't know when the reputation is going to start and the spike is going to happen and you're going to start to attract more opportunities. But I don't know when it'll happen. But what I do know is it will eventually happen if you keep going. If you quit, it's never going to happen. But if you keep going, it will always happen. It might be 2 years, it might be bloody 5 years, depending on who's listening to this and how good you are and how you do it. But it took probably 18 months for me to really start to attract opportunities on social media. Now, 4 and a bit years in, it's a daily, literally, my DMs, I don't have that many followers, but my DMs are on fire every single day with something. Like, there's always something going on from social media. And I'm always getting agents ringing me. I was negotiating 2 deals yesterday at auction. Didn't get them accepted, but this is a guy I know that, I know this agent really well. He was like, I know what you can get it for, Terry. Like, if you put this in, I'll put 2 offers in. One came back with a decline, it's going to auction. Other one I haven't heard back yet. I had one person want some coaching yesterday who signed up. I had 2 people pay deposits for the January mastermind yesterday. Like, it's relentless, right? Which is good. But because I've put the graft in over 4.5 years, I've put the graft in. I'm on the upwards trajectory, right? So if you want similar results, you just got to copy what works. You just got to keep doing the reps, keep doing the same things, and it will eventually start to happen for you. So if you are telling yourself that you can't find deals, or you know somebody who's a negative normer and they are also saying they can't find deals, send them this podcast, right? And just tell them Terry Blackburn said you're full of shit, right? Send them this podcast, we'll have a laugh, and because there is legitimately deals everywhere. Don't tell yourself that there's not. So thank you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope I've inspired you a little bit and give you some ideas. And remember, don't just take notes, take action.